This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Tuesday, November 21st of 2023. Hard to believe we're really almost into the final month of the year. So glad you could join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talked with Nick Becker of Sound Agriculture about Source, their product that acts as a bit of a caffeine for the microbes in your soil. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're here with Ross Baldwin of agmarket.net. First off, Ross, thanks for joining us today. What do we see going on in the grain markets today?
Hey, Riley, thanks for having me. Corn had a quiet day. It's the markets remain all about soybeans and the weather in South America. Beans were 8.5 higher here today. They did close about 14 to 15 cents off the early morning highs. But over in the wheat market, wheat caught a bid about mid-morning. There was reports of Russia striking a port in southern Odessa, which bounced wheat higher. And interestingly enough, corn just remained really flat, which just kind of shows the overall theme that corn just remains extremely range bound here. I would say between last week's low for D's corn to 461 up to 480. So for the grain markets, it's all about soybeans right now and South American weather, which remains supportive.
And then, of course, heading into this longer weekend with the holiday, there will be limited trading on Friday. Do we expect to see maybe any selling pressure tomorrow, as a lot of traders are just going to want to not be stuck in their positions?
You could. I still think it's all going to be all about South American weather and soybeans. We will see volume really start to slow down. We did see it felt a little bit slower as the day drug on, but ahead of tomorrow, I think it's just going to be all about what the weather models and the run show here. And one thing to keep in mind with the holiday week, when the markets will be closed Thursday for Thanksgiving, and then we reopen Friday at 8:30, and we have a shortened day of trade. But Friday, December options expire, so there will be a lot of eyes on what December corn options do.
And then speaking of that South American weather, and more specifically, kind of the price disparity that the U.S. has with Brazil, we've been kind of having that tug of war for a while. And I believe right now in the nearby, we have like U.S. is competitive on corn, and then Brazil has the edge on soybeans. Is that the case? And what's the situation with that going forward?
That is, we've been competitive on corn, like you mentioned, and we didn't have any export sales here this morning. But Mexico's been a very aggressive buyer of U.S. corn, which we need to see because they've been the main buyer. We haven't seen China stepping in, buying U.S. corn, but U.S. corn's at the lowest prices we've been at in 3 years. So Mexico's taking advantage of that and getting out in front of it. And like you mentioned on beans, we have seen really strong bean exports here recently, the last couple of weeks, which is a good sign. We need to see that continue. But there has been some rumors here overnight and this morning that the U.S., we have been doing some more bean business off the PNW. So we're looking to see bean exports stay strong here over the next week to 10 days when these announcements hit.
All right, and then looking at the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex, what action did we see there today?
The theme continues. I mean, the markets are really heavy. Cattle, we had the cattle on feed report, and it came in friendlier than the expectations on the placements. We've sold that market off hard following the last cattle on feed report, and then we started selling it off in anticipation of a bearish placements number. Fortunately, the placements number was not as bearish as what the trade was thinking. We came in at just under 104 versus the guesses of 107, but the overall theme just remains. I mean, this market, there's no new news to feed these bulls in the cattle market. We've traded the tight supplies. the recent increase in placements over the last 2 months has got a lot of people across the trade thinking that we're going to have plenty of cattle over the next 4 months to market. So until we really start to see cash move higher, which cash has been really quiet so far on the week, and I expect to see cash quiet until Friday, but until we can really see cash maybe put on $2 to $3, it's going to be hard to get this cattle market moving too much higher.
And then especially when we're in a marketplace like this, and we know the livestock in particular can be really difficult to navigate when we're having kind of turbulent marketplace situations. What would you have for the best advice for cattle producers or just people who are trading cattle to kind of navigate these waters and maybe make the best out of a bit of a poorer situation?
I think the recent volatility that we've seen across the cattle market, it just shows how prudent it is to manage your risk. So if you got cattle on feed, I think you really need to drill down into where your break evens are and look into having a floor underneath of these things. It's been so common that we've just seen wild triple digit swings across fat cattle and feeder cattle. We've had a couple days where we've seen live cattle trade down limit and feeders trade down their limit. So I think just moving forward, just manage your risk, look at having a floor in place, whether that's just buying a put. You can look at selling an overhead call to finance the put option. But I would say, given that recent volatility that we've seen, you got to have a floor under this thing.
And then what did we see in the hog markets as well?
Hogs, they kind of took a page out of the cattle book here recently, and Feb hogs closed down about 270 today, so they really got smacked hard. And hogs, really, there hasn't been a whole lot of new news. We had a decent rally over the last couple months, and then the last few weeks we've just been trading sideways here. And you walk in today and really more technical selling than anything, and hogs, they don't look good going home. So I think you got to be mindful that we could see some more downside.
All right, Ross, lots of great information today for those of our listeners who'd like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net. How can they do that?
You can visit our website. It's agmarket.net, and you can go find any of the brokers on that website. Or if you want to reach out to me directly, my number is 712-373-3276.
Thanks for taking the time to visit with us, Ross, and we look forward to getting more great market analysis from you in the future.
Thanks for having me, Riley.
That again was Ross Baldwin of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn up 0.5 cent at $4.70 even. January soybeans up 10 even at $13.77 and a quarter. Soybean meal down $1 at $4.59.20. Soybean oil up $1.08 at $54.19. Chicago wheat up 11.5 at $5.55 even. Kansas City hard red wheat up 5 1/4 at $6.15 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 10 1/4 at $7.17 1/2. December oats up 10 3/4 at $3.58 even. On the Merc, December live cattle down 47 cents at $1.75 even. January feeders down 152 at $2.28.32. December lean hogs down 217 at 68.17. December pork cutout down 142 at 79.85. Class 3 milk for December up 4 cents at 16.42. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Ross Baldwin of Sound Agriculture. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. When it comes to fertilizer inputs, as we've seen from this year, it can have a wildly different story pretty much from week to week, depending on that supply and all of the other factors associated with that, including global news. But there's a lot of nutrients in your soil that are probably sitting there a little dormant and aren't being used for that plant yet, or could be made to be more readily available for that plant. I had the chance to talk with Sound Agriculture at the NAFB Convention Trade Talk Show about Source, which is their product that acts as sort of a caffeine for those microbes and gets those activated in a manner that allows the plant to use it more readily. talking with Nick Becker. He's Director of Field Sales with Sound Agriculture. Nick, first off, what are some of the negative effects of over-applying synthetic fertilizers that producers need to be keeping an eye out for?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, especially when nitrogen prices are a little less. But some of the negative side effects is that nitrogen can have antagonistic effects on other elements in the soil. Essentially, it ties up elements that are valuable to the plant and makes them unavailable to your crops.
So then, of course, another thing, how can growers better dial in their fertilizer use to reduce that waste and, see a better return on investment? Because we know that producers are always looking for that. It's kind of one of the big things, that's on their minds.
Yeah, we've solved for that with our product called Source. And so it's a soil activator that stimulates the microbes that are existing in your soil, and they can do various jobs, fixating nitrogen, solubilizing phosphorus, and making micronutrients more available in a very efficient manner. It gives your crop access to nutrients all season long.
Right. I've talked before on Source, and it's compared to biologicals, is what we hear, comparing to that microbiome and everything. But Source in general is kind of like more of a, I think what was last time described as kind of a steroid for that area and being able to really bring those nutrients out.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about the microbes and the value that they can bring to your plants, but Source is actually a chemistry. So it's a chemistry similar to the other crop protection products that you're using, and it actually rides in the sprayer with those products, and it stimulates the microbes that are already existing in the soil. And basically, we use the analogy of caffeine for the microbes. It gets them up, gets them moving, and gets them going, and then there's a value exchange between the microbes and the plant, and so we're sort of the catalyst to get everything up and running.
So then when we look at, adding Source to a producer's program and, getting that on their operation, how is Sound Ag helping to remove the risk for growers looking to add that on?
Yeah, so we have the industry's strongest cashback guarantees for using our product called Source. And so depending on an operation, we'd have a conversation about how much nitrogen are you applying, or if you're what we would consider efficient, then we would just apply Source and go for a yield increase, and then we would guarantee that you get the value of the product back in yield, or we'll pay you back in cash. In some other scenarios, we would talk about reducing 25 pounds of nitrogen and 25 pounds of phosphorus to give Source the best chance to win, and then we actually will underwrite any potential yield loss up to $100 an acre. And so Source and Sound are the only ones that are guaranteeing your last 25 pounds of nitrogen and phosphorus across the entire industry.
Nick, lots of great information today for those of our listeners and our viewers who'd like to get in touch and learn more from Sound Ag. How can they do that?
Yeah, so go to sound.ag, and there's a contact us form where you can get in touch with us, and we can have the conversation around your operation and your practices. And then there's also a where to buy page. So we have dealers out in the countryside, ag input service providers and more. So you could check out the where to buy page as well.
Nick, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today, and good luck as you guys continue to develop Source and get it out to producers.
That's great. Thanks for the time.
That again was Nick Becker of Sound Agriculture. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, it's been a rainy day or two here in Des Moines, at least, and across much of the state. There was at least a little bit of a rain to come through. One of those just kind of gloomy days where the temperatures are a little lower and that cold rain is coming down from the sky. Taking a look at tomorrow, we will see those clouds clear off a bit and give way to sunny skies, but not necessarily warmer temperatures. As even though it'll be slightly warmer tomorrow, we're looking at that Thanksgiving weekend could cool off again. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, today we have rain over central Iowa to start off with, but otherwise it'll be variably cloudy and breezy, highs ranging from the low to mid 40s. Tonight, clouds will clear off overnight with those lows ranging from the low 20s to about 30. And tomorrow we have sunny skies and the weather will be just a tad warmer, with those highs ranging from the low 40s to mid 50s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be sunny with a high of 55, Shenandoah sunny and 52, Des Moines sunny and 50, Waterloo sunny and 47, Albia sunny and 48, and Clinton will be sunny with a high around 43. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free twice daily market podcasts on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.